Okay, Ashton, we have to go to it. We have to talk about the locks of the week. Last week
Yeah.
was not our best effort. 0-2 for you, 0-3 for me. Vegas spanked us last week. Your losses were Georgia minus 15 against Mizzou and Wisconsin minus 8.5 against Indiana. I agreed with you on Wisconsin. Excuse me. And wow, sorry. My other losses were Nebraska minus 3 against Michigan State and the Notre Dame Clemson under 45.5, which felt accurate if you don't account for turnovers, which led to short fields. But that happens. I should have known that was coming. But anyway, on the season, I'm now 22-27, and you are 15-8-1. So still a good season for you overall. So Ashton, what are you looking at for this week?
Okay, so we teased it early on. Kentucky, you can get that number as high as I think 11.5. Is that right? Kentucky at home against Bama. That one is interesting. Just because the fact of the matter is that all the public money is coming in on the one team, right? And you have to be curious about that.
Do you have an 11.5?
That I want to look at?
Sorry. I have an 11. Do you have an 11.5 for sure?
I don't. No. If you've got an 11, that's the best. That's the best
we'll
I
give
can
you
find
11
right now. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. The other one that I'm looking at, the Iowa Rutgers total.
Yes.
We teased it last week. About being the lowest of all time, the Iowa total. And this week it's even lower.
Yes.
We're at 28.5 points.
I got 29.5 for you if you want to go under.
It's a home game. It's a home game for Iowa. They have a new offensive coordinator. I mean, they don't, but like they kind of do. It's weird. We're not sure what's going on. I'm just gonna save that one. You bring out a few of your ideas. I'm considering it strongly.
Okay. I don't have very many ideas, quite frankly. Vegas is nailing these lines. Okay. It's terrifying. I will say there's one absolutely suspicious line that I'm not touching, but we talked about a lot of lines that are maybe telling you there's an upset possibility. Oklahoma State is a 2.5 point favorite against UCF, coming off a huge win in Bedlam.
Yes.
That feels wildly low, and yet who knows? Like usually Vegas is telling you something with a line like that. So I'll stay away from that one. I'm just pointing it out. Like that's whoa. That should make you think a little bit. The two I wrote down. It's funny that you're taking Kentucky. I think I'm going to take Alabama minus 10.5. We'll have us a good old fashioned lock fight here. I just feel like Alabama's figuring something out, and I'm not. Kentucky is fine. Like they're perfectly fine. We see what happens to Kentucky when they play someone who is clearly like just head and shoulders above them. Like they got crushed by Georgia. And I know it's at home. I just can't shake the feeling that Alabama should crush them. You have a better record than me so far, so I guess people should probably side with you on this one.
I guess where I would push back you're correct that Kentucky has been getting smoked, like on the road at Georgia this year. But if you go back to a year ago, Kentucky played Georgia. That was a Georgia team that went undefeated. They beat everybody. They didn't lose a game. And like we talk about the Missouri game a lot, and rightly so, and the Ohio State game in the playoff. And yeah, I get that. Kentucky was close with Georgia. That game I think was 16-6. Like it was just tight the whole way. I think Alabama's going to win. I think it's just going to be one where they have to scrap a little bit, and Kentucky just keeps it close. They play defense very well at home. Kentucky does. I'm expecting to see more of that. I don't think that Kentucky is going to just get run over by Jalen Milroe the way LSU did. I don't. And if Bama hits some shots over the top, which they're perfectly capable of doing, then Kentucky will take their, they'll tip their cap at that point. But they're not going to let Milroe just run over them and beat them that way. So yeah, I think Alabama will have to find a little something different this week against Kentucky, who Kentucky's a good team. They're 6-3 on the year. They've lost some big games, but they've won a lot. So yeah, it's a sneaking suspicion. I don't know. It's going to be cold. I'm not even that matters much. Like that's just kind of how that's how it is. That just kind of seems to that's just the kind of the way it is there. So yeah, we'll disagree. Lock fight.
Sure. Any chance that there's just a little bit of a law? How do I say it? I'll just say this. I think there's a non-zero chance that Mark Stoops is the Michigan State head coach next year. Slight distraction chance.
Why would he go? Why would he want to go there? What does Michigan State have that Kentucky's not giving him right now?
They are higher in the pecking order of the Big Ten than Kentucky is in the SEC. So with Kentucky, he can in a good year, he can win 9 games. That's great. I think he has a bit like, if he has higher aspirations, he probably has a better chance at Michigan State than he does at Kentucky. Now, I say that knowing at Kentucky, he has reasonable expectations and they pay pretty well. So if you're okay as a coach going 8-4 every year and making a bunch of money, then that's great. We know these coaches, they all have egos. And I think they all, pretty much all of them, they aspire to more, no matter where they are. Like, and I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying there's a slight chance.
The last coach to leave the SEC willingly was James Franklin when he left Vanderbilt to go to the Big Ten and Penn State.
Sure.
And Kentucky and Vanderbilt are nowhere near on the same page. And by the way, neither are Michigan State and Penn State. So I guess I would push back on that willingly. Coaches do leave the SEC, but it is not because they want to. They do because usually there's an athletic director and a bunch of boosters that are chasing them out the door with the shotgun. So
that's fair. I'm just trying to convince myself that I'm on the right side here.
Okay. No, I understand that. By the way, can we go ahead and talk about the lack of coach openings? We have not had many firings. We're already, this is week 11. And this is week 11. We've had more in previous years. People are kind of staying put this year a little bit, which is a good thing, honestly. I think that's a good thing. It's a healthy thing. We thought that Neil Brown was just a dead man walking. And by the way, we need to apologize for that too. He's done a fantastic job at West Virginia.
Yep.
They're just not firing coaches this year. Like we're just not doing that. So I think that's props to everyone. Props to the athletic directors, props to the boosters for having realistic expectations. I guess Mel Tucker was fired, but that was not, that was kind of extenuating circumstances. And currently Jim Harbaugh still has a job as of Monday night. So TBD, I guess, on all of that. I do have one more line that I want to bring out. Arizona favored by 11 on the road at Boulder. Colorado is a struggle bus right now. Arizona is 8-1 against the spread this year, covering at 89%. They have the highest margin of victory against the spread of anyone out there. Arizona is they're crushing it for you if you're betting them every week. Only favored by 11. We don't think Colorado's very good. We don't think Colorado's very good. What do you think? Am I crazy on that one?
No, I like that. And at 10.5 for sure. I think I would probably say you're on the right side there. Trying to decide if I should ride your coattails because I totally agree with the play. And I just can't shake the feeling that the demotion of Sean Lewis was a bad mistake by Dion. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
That doesn't feel smart at all.
Yeah.
And you've got an Arizona team playing with just a ton of confidence. Everything that Arizona is right now, Colorado is not. Like those teams couldn't be trending in more different directions. The only game that Colorado has won in the last 6 was a 3-point win against Arizona State, who's probably the worst team in the Pac-12. They've lost like 5 of the last 6 games. So I would be, I have to decide between that one and the Iowa under. I would be going on the under, by the way, on that Iowa on that Iowa one if I would take it. They haven't hit an over in so long. Like they just can't score points, man. And the defense is good. I'm going to take Kentucky, a home dog, and I'm going to take Arizona. Just those two. Lock it up for me. Arizona covering 10.5 on the road. and then we get Kentucky at home against Bama. Yeah.
All right, I will join you on the Arizona minus 10.5. And then I have a third play. I'm taking Michigan minus 4.5 against Penn State. I know it feels like a trap, but I think maybe a lot of bettors are thinking that Michigan will implode over this thing. And I guess I'm just betting that this will actually galvanize the team. And they're better than Penn State. Just quite frankly, they're quite a bit better than Penn State, I think. So I'll take Michigan minus 4.5. My plays are Alabama minus 10.5. We have the lock fight there. We have a lock agreement, Arizona minus 10.5. And then I'll take the Michigan minus 4.5.
I have a friend that's a Penn State fan, and he said the Michigan side, no matter what the number, just Michigan, lay them. Like that was pretty much what he said. He is not anticipating this being close. Yeah, just check in on your Penn State friends out there. It's rough. These big games are rough for them. They don't really beat Michigan or Ohio State that much.
That's true.